So I've been making Halo videos for over 3 years now, and that means that I've played a lot of Halo. An excruciating amount of Halo. And the game that I primarily play is Halo 3. So I've discovered a lot of really weird and interesting things that I've never really told or shown anybody. And my goal is to have every single person who watches this video learn at least one new thing that they didn't know about Halo 3. So can I do it? Let's give it a shot! So in Halo 3, most objects can actually float in water. But there's something weird about this. So if you stand on an object for long enough, it will start sinking. But if you stand on an object and shoot at it with a gun, it will actually reset its sink timer to float. So you can even use objects like barrels as boats. That's as long as I could hold it for. On the mission Sierra 117, right next to the cell where Johnson is being held, there's actually a hidden boiler room that has explosives in it. But it's a room nonetheless. And there's actually explosives in here. And in this room, there are propane tank explosives, and sometimes you'll get one that is actually invincible. Also on this mission, there are a set of 3 cranes, and what most people don't know is these cranes are actually movable. You can interact with them. These cranes move, in case you weren't aware. Yep. They all rotate. In Halo 3, there are large crates, and if you hit them enough times, they actually break into a set of smaller crates. But it takes a lot of hits. We're talking like 50 in a row. See? Boom! Now they're all individual crates. So the next glitch is pretty cool. Basically every single Phantom in this game, you have the ability, you can take out the pilots without really even doing much. So if you just jump and where this kind of triangle fork thing starts, what you can do is if you hit that correctly in the right spot, it'll actually eject the pilot out of the Phantom, and you can just use it to do whatever. Boom, see? So doing this actually breaks some missions so you can't proceed forward. There are some missions like the Ark where you can do this to a Phantom without consequences. And interestingly enough, when you do this, Marines will actually treat this as a friendly allied vehicle. Ally on it? In the same hangar, there's a Pelican that's scheduled to take Marines out of it. And this Pelican actually goes from a non-solid state to a solid state, and if you time a jump correctly, you can jump into it and ride the carrier out of the hangar. See? Boom! You can see I'm actually riding in the Pelican right now, and I can't get out. Even when the door opens up, I can't get out. Eventually, the Pelican will just disappear and you'll fall out to your death, but it's still cool nonetheless. This is what happens when you get pulled out. You can actually ride all the way out of the map. It's actually pretty cool, but then it just despawns and you die. On the mission The Ark, there's a time travel spot where you can head to a previous section of the mission that most people don't know about. If you reach the end corner of the end structure, it'll actually take you through the wall to where the Scarab was. And you can actually get to some areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. Like down here, you can actually walk on the floor. And doing so actually eliminates some previous death barriers that were loaded in. So you can reach areas you normally wouldn't be able to. So perhaps one of the dumbest features of Halo 3 is there's actually a Wraith that is supposed to load into the game, but at the 3rd tower on the Covenant, the ramp that it's spawned on is actually too steep for it to climb. So it falls off every single time. Every single time it falls off, without fail. At the end of the mission, the Covenant on Rally Point Charlie, you can actually get into this Pelican. So if you hold the button, and then bam, you can actually teleport throughout the mission in the Phantom. On the mission The Covenant, I also discovered an instance of developer laziness. Okay, so if you get way outside of the map on that final part of the Covenant, and you look on top of the 3rd tower, you go right over here. What you can find is, once you drop down, they actually never deload the flood pods. And there's this little ledge that you can get stuck on. You can actually see these flood pods never, ever deload on this mission. In Halo 3, you can actually interact with the hologram model of the Prophet of Truth, but you have to do some complex steps and a glitch to do it. You can use a Hornet to activate a revelation cutscene early. Then you can use this Hornet to get out of the map by the Citadel. From this point, you can actually fly up to the top of this. If you count 6 lines from where the top of the structure is and then jump down, you will load into the final section of the mission early, where these holograms are still solid models, so you can hit them off of their pedestals. And interestingly enough, if you look through one of these holographic models at the other holographic model, it actually is not visible at all. On the mission Halo, if you take any of the roundabouts and stop and jump on a Sentinel, you can actually use this Sentinel to get massive air. Once the platform collapses, the Sentinel goes flying and so do you.